You're right, Milo. Should we crack on? Hello, folks. Welcome to the channel and welcome to the Man Cave. Well, over the past 18 months or so, the smart screen navigation market for motorcyclists has absolutely exploded, mostly from manufacturers in good old China. And I've been lucky enough to have tested quite a few of the display units. Now, these display units allow you to basically mirror what is on your mobile phone. So if you've got an iPhone, that would be Apple's CarPlay you can mirror, and if you've got an Android phone, then that would be Android Auto. So you can mirror it from your phone onto the display unit for navigation purposes, listening to good old music, receiving texts, and not forgetting making phone calls and receiving phone calls as well. So today we're going to have a quick look at a new product to me, and that is Aoocci's C6PRO with dash cameras front and rear and tire pressure monitoring. So before we do any of that, let's roll the intro. Welcome back. Now, I know there's going to be riders out there who just don't want to use the smart navigation display units where you connect your phone to the screen and you do it that way. That's fine, you do whatever you want to do, and these riders are going to use two other methods. They're either going to invest in a standalone GPS satellite system from the likes of Garmin, where their Garmin Zumo XT2 is going to set you back something in the region of £500, or they're prepared to attach their very expensive phone onto the handlebars or wherever using a sufficient mount, and that may be from the likes of Quadlock, where you can get their mount for something in the region of £55. So that's fine, you do whatever you want to do. But the only issue I have with having a phone on the handlebars is that somebody may come along and steal it, and then they'll be running off with all your life in their hands, or they'll be riding away on a very quick e-bike. Now, I've reviewed a lot of the main players in the smart navigation display market, from the likes of Chigi, Innov and CarPlay, with the prices ranging from £450 down to £170. And I did actually say I would be doing no more smart navigation reviews because it takes quite a while to actually do them, and I thought it was going to be a little bit samey, so I didn't want to bore my viewers. However, I received some communication from Aoocci, if I pronounced that correctly, and Aoocci wanted me to have a look at and do a review of their C6PRO smart display with dash cameras and tire pressure monitoring. And I have to say, with a discount code, I'll put a link in the description down below. With that discount code, you're going to get all this for an amazing price. I don't know how they do it. I'm blown away by the price, £136 currently. So that might change when you go and have a look on the internet once you've seen the video. But as I sit here in the Man Cave with the discount, you can get all that for £136. But bear in mind, a quad lock mounting system for your expensive phone, which could get stolen, it's going to cost you £55, so £136 with the discount. I don't know how they've done it. Before I said yes, I jumped on the internet, had a look on YouTube, had a look at some of the reviews on this, and indeed some of the big hitters on YouTube. For instance, TMF, he's done a review on one of the Aoocci products and he really likes it, as have some of the others. So it looked to be a really good product, so I said yes, and here it is. So not only is it very wallet friendly, but I've had a look at all the stuff in the box, had a look at it over the last 3 or 4 days, played around with it, and I have to say it's up there with the other products that I've tested over the last year or so. So here we go then, let's have a quick look at the Aoocci C6PRO. Before we open the box, so if you want to visit Aoocci's website, you're going to see not only do they do display units for motorcycles, they also do display units for other types of vehicles as well. Now, in relation to motorcycles, they actually do 5 display units, and anything with a Pro contained within the title means that that unit comes with front and rear dash cameras. And if you don't need the dash cameras, then have a look at their C3. That's a 5-inch screen, and with the discount code you can get that for an unbelievable price of £74. And I'll put a link in the description down below, and that will whisk you away to Aoocci's website for you to have a look at. Now, in relation to the C6PRO, I can confirm that it does come with tire pressure monitoring sensors. If you go to their web page, and look at the C6PRO, you will see that there is an option to purchase the tyre pressure sensors, or TPS, and you can add that to your basket, but that's only if you want a second pair of tyre pressure sensors. Folks, for those of you that like boxes, it's a lovely box. That's all I'm going to say about it. You'll see on the side there it says C6 and C6PRO. They don't do a C6, they only do the C6PRO, and also came with a smaller box, and in that box is some hardware to attach the display unit onto the bike. Here we go then. So I've laid everything out on the workbench, and if you jump onto the Aoocci website, they're going to tell you that they're going to give you a 1-year warranty, and there is a 60-day returns policy. Now on the Aoocci website, they've got all this stuff laid out like that, and they call it main parts. Here's a photo, and then the other bits and pieces they call accessories and tools. I didn't get a manual in the box, but you can download a PDF manual on their website. This is it all here. I have to say, I've been looking at this stuff for the last 3 or 4 days doing the video, and quality wise, for the price, I'm going to say it's very good, and I'm going to score a solid 8 out of 10 for quality. I am very impressed. So here we go then. We have the Aoocci 6.25 inch screen, 1000 nits, and there is an auto dim function on there. If you jump onto the website under the C6PRO, there is at the bottom there is a list of all the changes they've made to the unit over the past month. So they're obviously listening to customer feedback. So this unit might look slightly different to other reviews you might be looking at for the C6PRO. It's ABS plastic, I believe, nice high quality, feels nice and solid, nice and chunky. And the only thing I'll say is there is a protective screen on the display unit, and there's a green little tab on the bottom right hand corner, and you don't think there's actually anything on there. So I just had to use a very sharp blade to remove the in-transit, in-box protective film, but you could leave it on there. But I just wanted to give you the full effect of the nice bright screen when we come to have a look at it. But Aoocci do a dedicated screen protector for the display. And there are no buttons on the outside, there's no on and off buttons. We've got GPS on the back here, but what I do know, it's not a standalone GPS navigation system kind of thing. I believe that the GPS data is transferred onto the SD card or the TF card, which you can then have a look at later on, and it gives you things like speed and position, but it is not GPS for a standalone GPS navigation unit. Anyway, moving on then, we've got a speaker under here, so that's inbuilt. Turning the unit over, there's a little hole here which is the microphone, and then if you remove these 2 screws, and I would always suggest put a cloth down so you don't lose the screws if it's attached to the bike. Undo the screws here, and then under here you've got the SD card or the TF card slot, which will take a card class 10 up to a maximum of 256 gigabytes. And they even provide you with a little screwdriver to undo these tiny little screws. Take the cover off, and then under here is where the SD card goes, and then the SD card goes in that way, and you might need some tweezers when you want to take it out, and then put everything back. And then you've got 4 wires coming out, and they are color coded and marked as to what they are as well. Then there is a sun visor that gets screwed onto the top, and then you have the mounting plate. It sits on the back, and then that goes into some ram style mounts to secure it to the handlebars or wherever you're going to secure it to. Then we've got some tire pressure sensors, and the battery should last about a year or so. And then we've got the remote control. Now you don't have to use the remote control. It comes with 1 meter length of cable, and then there are some mounting brackets. They're plastic actually, so some mounting brackets to mount those on your handlebars. Talking of brackets, these are aluminium. I believe they are aluminium brackets, a ram style system to mount the display unit onto your handlebars or mirror stem or wherever you find a suitable place to mount it. And they have an anti-theft screw system on there, so it's like a hex pin type screw system, and then they give you a an L-shaped Allen key, which fits into that hex pin type system. So if you haven't got that, you can't undo or tighten up the screw to secure it to your machine. And in that pack there's some rubber grommets which fit in the back of here, and they'll help with the anti-vibration on there. Get 2 cameras, doesn't matter which one goes where, and the cameras are made of aluminium, I believe. And the cable length on those is 1/2 meter, and the quality of the cables is very nice actually. The cables for the cameras, and they are 2.5 meters in length. Comes with, at the moment, a 64GB card. Then we've got some screws and stuff for the mounting system, and then you've got some zip ties, and then some 3M tapes, pads, and then some brackets to mount the cameras onto the front and rear of your machine. How do we power it? 2 methods. Now I've been just practicing with it, just testing it, and they give you a USB cable, so you can actually I just plug it into my USB plug up there, and that's how I've been able to play with it. And obviously just make sure that the system works before you mount it on your bike. I did ask them whether you could use that as a permanent power method, and they said not really. So, but it does work. It works fine actually. My Chiggy, when you turn the power off, the screen goes into a countdown mode and then switches itself off. I don't know if it's just tidying stuff up in the background, but I've used this and the hardwire system, which is what they recommend, and basically the unit just switches off when the power goes. So there is no countdown system. Well, I haven't seen it anyway, but that works fine, and that's 1 meter. And then finally, the method that they do say to use is the power cable, 3 amp fuse in there, and some of them come with, previous units I've had come with 3 wires, red, black and a yellow. The yellow goes to a switch live. Now this has only got 2 cables. It's a red one and a black one. Basically the black cable goes to your battery terminal, the negative side, and the red cable goes to a switched live feed. So if you're not handy with how to wire things in, you might just have to speak to a mate and give them a cup of tea or something to actually wire it in for you. But I've already tried it that way and it works fine. That is pretty much it. So what we're going to do now is just put it all on the bike, and then I'll show you the screen and all the other bits and pieces that go with it. And let's do that now. So the installation has now been completed, and Aoocci do supply all the tools required for the job. The unit can be fitted to any motorcycle, whether that be a moped or scooter, right up to one of these big adventure bikes like my BMW R1250GS. I've already got a smart navigation display fitted onto my BMW, so for ease and speed, all I did was just surface mount the cables to the Aoocci C6PRO display unit. If I was to do a proper install on the BMW, taking panels off, etc., to hide all the cables away, I reckon it would take me something in the region of 2 hours to complete. The C6PRO was pretty simple to install actually, and all the cables coming out of the back of the display unit are labelled, and their connectors are actually color coded too, so you shouldn't have any problems connecting the other cables to them. The biggest issue you may have is cable management, so when you have finished doing the installation, just make sure before you ride off that the handlebars go from full lock from one side to the other side uninterrupted without snagging on any of the cables. The cameras can be either fitted to the front or rear of the machine. There are no dedicated front and rear cameras. The only thing you have to ensure is that the white dot on the camera body is pointing vertically upwards to ensure that you have the correct orientation of the camera lens. The cameras are then secured in a plastic mount and then attached to the bike, and in my case I use the supplied 3M sticky pads. For added security, you can use the supplied zip ties as well. The only thing you need to do is just make sure before you ride off is that you remove the protective film on the lens of the cameras. And using the display unit, you can check to see what kind of picture you're getting and adjust the angle of the camera accordingly. Now, when it came to fitting the front camera, I didn't use the supplied 2.5 meter cable. I just thought it was a little bit on the long side. So maybe Aoocci should consider reducing the length of one of the cables supplied to maybe 1 meter, as it would be just easier to route without having a lot of spare cable. But yeah, I didn't use that one. I just relied on the 1/2 meter cable you get coming out of the camera. In this case, the camera I used on the front. So maybe that's something Aoocci can have a look at. Now, the remote control that I fitted on the handlebars here, it's made of plastic, as is the mounting bracket, and I would say, well, how can I put it? It's certainly wallet friendly, and I would score it on a 1 to 10. I'd give it a 6 out of 10, whereas the rest of the C6 Pro equipment, I would say, as I said earlier on, that is a solid 8 out of 10. So I just thought, yeah, the remote control and the bracket is a bit too wallet friendly, shall I say. And if you don't like the remote control, you can simply remove it from the bike without any problem. Now, when it came to installing the display unit onto my bike, I didn't actually use any of the supplied hardware by Aoocci. Basically, I have RAM mounts on the bike, and I chose to use the RAM mounts that I've already got. But yeah, these are very good that Aoocci do supply, and I do like their anti-theft device as well. Connecting power to the display unit, well, if you're not sure, then speak to somebody who knows a little bit more about it. And we mentioned earlier on about when you should use the supplied USB connector cable, i.e. use it only for testing and just getting used to the functionality of the display unit. So how did I power the unit? The other supplied cable has got an output of 5 volts, 2 amps, and it's got a 3 amp fuse. And the Aoocci manual says black cable, connect that to the negative side of the battery, red cable, connect that to a accessory cable or switch live. So I haven't done that. My bike has got what they call an accessory manager. It's an accessory manager from a company called Thunderbox. Up here, down in the description, down below. Basically, I took the red and the black cable and cut the ends of the cable connectors off, and then just inserted those into the Thunderbox unit, as you can see here. And that is how I have powered the display unit and all the other bits and pieces for the Aoocci C6PRO. And the only thing that remains for me to do is connect the tyre pressure sensors to the display unit once I've screwed them onto the valves. So let's have a look at the display unit. Yay! What I've done is I have installed the very nice sun visor with the 3 very small screws that they supply. So that job has now been done. And what we have to do next is just install and then pair the tyre pressure sensors to the display unit. These sensors are marked F for front and R for rear. So what I've done just to speed the process up is I've already removed the valve caps from the front and the rear tyres. And then these come with a locking nut, so they're already on the valve stems ready to go. So what we have to do then is go into the unit and then just start a very simple pairing process. So let's do that now. So this is the home page, shall we call it, of the C6 Pro, and apologies for the angle of the unit. I'm just trying to avoid any light shining on the screen from the lights above the bike in the man cave. I'm actually powering it via the USB cable just to avoid draining my battery. So what we need to do then is pair these with the screen. So there's no tire pressure at the moment, so we're getting a front tire is low, rear tire is low. We know that already. So let's go into the settings, and then this gives the system settings. So let's go to this one, which is the pressure. So tire pressure setting, and then what we need to do is actually pair the sensors to the unit itself. So this is what we need to press to actually go into pairing mode. I think what you have to do is put the unit into pairing mode first and then screw these onto the valve stems, and then when you screw them on, the air pressure will activate the pairing mode within these. I think that's how it's done. Anyway, let's try it, shall we? So pressure bind, which is the pairing mode. So we want to go into pairing mode, is bind off, cancel, confirm. So we're going into pairing mode now. So first thing that's going to happen is the front is going to flash grey. So that means that is in pairing mode for the front sensor. So we're going to take the front sensor and then basically just screw it onto the valve stem, which we've already taken the original valve cap off and installed the locking nut. So there we go. A little bit of air's come out. Tyres are cold, actually. It's cold at the moment, about 6 degrees outside, so I expect the tyre pressure to be low. There we go. So it's actually got it's paired it already. 2 bars, 17 degrees centigrade. So the back one's flashing now. So going to take I haven't pressed anything, it's doing it automatically. So take the rear one and then just install that on the rear. And when it's paired, the flashing will stop. It's as simple as that. So both the tyre pressure sensors are now paired. Whilst we're here, we may as well talk about the tyre pressure setting page. So front, rear, And at the moment I've got it selected in bar, so if I go to PSI, then it's 29 at the front and 36 at the rear, so a little bit low I guess, but it is cold in the garage. I normally do it in bar actually. And temperature units, yeah, centigrade or Fahrenheit or Celsius, whatever you want to call it. Tyre warning, that's just that little warning comes on when it reaches the alarm levels, either the low alarm or the high alarm. And then so the pressure bind, I don't know why they just don't say pairing. So pressure pairing, that's now off because we've completed the pairing process and everything is now solid as it should be. There is an alarm you can set, either a low pressure alarm or a high pressure alarm, so you can set that depending on what you want, but that applies to both the front and the rear or the back tyre, so you can't individually set the alarms. So that is the tyre pressure setting page. Very simple. And then all you need to do with the supplied spanner is tighten that locking nut up, and then that is the job done. In relation to the screen, boot up time, and I am using the USB connector. Boot up time is going to be something in the region of 12 seconds, and then you get a really nice 6.25 inch clear and bright screen. And size wise, as we said, 6.25 inches. There's my old iPhone 11, and the viewing size of the screen is pretty much what you get on an old iPhone 11 for comparison purposes. And this is the home screen. It is a touch capacitance screen, so it works just like your iPhone and just like a lot of the display units that are out on the market as well. And it is really nice and responsive. Let's just go into the settings and let's just get rid of the keystroke volume. So let's just turn that off. Back onto there. Yeah, so it's really nice and responsive. It is a very nice screen to use. So going back to the home screen then, how does it work with motorcycle gloves? Well, I've only got a pair of summer gloves. These are my Rukka summer gloves, and they have got those touch capacitance screen silver bits at the end. As you can see, I've used them an awful lot, and it works really well actually with the silver bits. No problems at all. It will go between the screens, go home. Yeah, it does work very well. Absolutely no problem at all. Yeah, as you can see, it's very nice. And if I use a non-capacitance part of the glove, then it does get a little bit hit and miss actually. So if you've got one of these screens and you've got a pair of non-capacitance gloves and it works fine, make some comments down below. And if you have a problem with the non-capacitance gloves, again, make some comments down below. But the screen with the non-capacitance bits on here, yeah, a little bit hit and miss, but with the capacitance bits, absolutely no problems whatsoever. Home screen then, I really like the way that they've laid the home screen out, and I'm going to put a picture up here from the user manual, and it just shows you what all the icons down the left hand side and the top right hand corner mean. So just go and have a look at that, press the pause button, and it has got an auto dimming function. So at the moment the screen is in manual mode, so you can adjust it by bringing up the brightness bar. So I'm in the man cave, so I just want it to be fully bright. Otherwise on auto, it would just reduce the brightness of the screen. But if you're out and about generally, obviously at night time, you might want it to be on auto mode. So it'll adjust accordingly to the ambient conditions. So just select auto brightness on, which I really like that facility. And obviously we're in the darker environment, so it's just reduced the intensity of the brightness of the screen. But to go back to manual brightness, go into settings. I'm already there, aren't I? So just turn the auto brightness off and then just adjust it manually. So there we go. Back to full brightness and then back to the home screen. So up here then, that's just displaying how long the dual dash cameras have been recording since power up. And then you've got the icons in the top right hand corner, which are a little bit on the small side, but you don't really need to know about those. Driving recorder is the dual dash cameras. So if you go into there, it just shows you the cameras, and you can actually just swipe and it'll just swipe through the cameras. So you've got both cameras there and it'll just flick them around both cameras and to the rear as well. The great thing about the rear view camera, and that is a mirror mode facility. So it's just like looking in a mirror in your car or on your handlebars. And that's a real nice safety feature actually. So it gives you extra situational awareness. That's something I use an awful lot, so I like that facility. But yeah, you can just scroll with your finger through the various dash camera viewings. So yeah, I tend to leave it in the rear view camera mode just to see what's behind me. So yeah, I really like that. Displays the speed, so it uses the GPS to display all this data. The GPS is not used for navigating through CarPlay. Your phone does that. But there is no facility at the moment to change the speed from kilometers per hour into miles per hour. But I'm sure that will come in a future update. If you are in the driving recorder display, then you can actually just go into the settings of the driving recorder and then adjust, for instance, the loop recording time. So you've got 1, 3 and 5 minutes. Let's just set that to 3 minutes actually. What else can you set? Yeah, it's just very self-explanatory. Driver recording. So there is an inbuilt microphone. You can either have that on or turn it off. I'll just leave it on in case there is a horn, a car horn that is sounded before an accident or whatever, something like that, which may be crucial to any subsequent investigation. GPS speed, you can actually turn that on or off as well. I'm going to leave that on. And GPS coordinates, I'm going to leave those on. So they will be displayed on your video file footage. So that is the recording settings for the dual dash cameras. In relation to resolution, yeah, you can't do anything with that. It's just 1080p. So you can't drop it down to 720 if you're running short of space on your SD card. The G sensor then, well, if you're involved in an accident, the unit detects that you are involved in an accident and it basically locks and protects that file should you so need it. You can either leave it off and it's got sensitivity settings of low, middle and high. So let's just go back to the home screen of the dash cam page, or driving recorder as they call it. Tap the icon down here and then this gives you access to what is stored on your SD card. So at the moment then we're looking at the video files all displayed down here. F means front, R means rear, and then you can scroll all the way through the file footage, and then you've got your still photos there, and then anything that you have put a padlock on. So this is where the G sensor video footage would be stored, so it can't be overwritten. And then if you go to a video file and you go, I actually need to secure that so it won't be overwritten by the system, you can actually put a padlock on it, and then that bit of footage will be then stored in the locked video file, so it would not be overwritten. Yeah, and you can play it back, and there's audio coming through as well through the speaker at the back. So if you've witnessed an accident or an incident, or involved in an accident or an incident, then you can immediately play the footage on the screen to the police officer or the relevant law enforcement officer to show them what exactly happened. And you can show it on full screen display as well. And from the home screen, you can actually access the video file footage by going into the replay screen, and that takes you directly to the page that we just seen. And if you want to get video footage from here onto your phone, then Aoocci use an app called KimCam 2, which you have to download onto your phone. It's all on their website, but you can go into settings, go to version, and then you can take a shot of the QR code, and then that will take you to the app. And then basically via Wi-Fi, you then download the video footage from the device onto your phone via the KimCam 2 app. Very simple to do. The final thing we have to do then is connect the C6PRO to your mobile device. In my case, I'm going to use an old trusty iPhone 11 as I'm recording the video with my iPhone 14. So settings, make sure Wi-Fi and Bluetooth are switched on. This is the CarPlay section, so interconnect, and we're going to be looking for this Bluetooth device, which is called MT91D. So let's just go to Bluetooth, and we're going to look for MT91D. There we go. So select that. All very simple. And then so it's connected to MT91D. And then as if by magic, it will say use CarPlay with WePlay. Yes, I want to use CarPlay. And then it should come up on the page. So there we go. It's now connected to Apple's CarPlay. And I'm sure you know, folks, but you can change or customize the page on here, and all you need to do is go to General, go down to CarPlay, there's WePlay, customize it, and then you can move the icons around. So let's just say I want the Spotify to be up near the top because I use Spotify a lot, and then you can see it's changed. So I'm going to put that next to music. Maps, let's keep those all together then. Google Maps, let's go up to here. And then I use Scenic. I use the Scenic app, so let's just get that up there as well. And then if you use Waze, then there's the Waze. Let's get that up the top. Waze is up there. And then finally, let's put the home button up there as well. So that's how you can customize the page, and I'm sure you've seen those icons moving as well. So that is CarPlay through my iPhone 11 on the Aoocci C6PRO. Right then, let's very quickly have a look at Apple's CarPlay screen. So on the left-hand side, the top 3 pieces of information are actually generated by your phone. So that is the time, any reception that you're receiving. In my case, I'm in my man cave, so no reception from the phone, and then the remaining battery level in the phone itself. So obviously that can be a bit of an issue. So you can either plug your phone into a USB socket on the bike, or if you haven't got a USB socket, just get a small power bank and then just use that to power your phone as and when you need to top your phone up. As if your phone dies, then Apple's CarPlay will die as well. These are the last 3 apps that you've used. Bottom left is the split screen option. Back again will take you back to the main page. Looking at Google Maps then, yep, the quality is really nice actually. So that's a good quality screen. And then going back into the app. So phone calls, yeah, you can just make phone calls as and when you want to. Very easy to use, very nice. Absolutely no problem at all. And then if you want to listen to music, I don't want to get a copyright strike. So that's through my iPhone. There we go. So it really is very good. Absolutely no problems. No problems at all. Let's pause that and then back. And then finally, then the little dot here, you can see that's just a quick access menu. You can actually move it around the screen if you want to, drop it wherever you want. So that is a quick access menu button thing. So you can either go home, there we go, home, go back to CarPlay, tap on it again, and then you can go to the cameras, and then as we said earlier on, you can swipe through the cameras. And in my case, I like to use the rear view camera as a mirror to give me better situational awareness. And that is CarPlay on the Aoocci C6PRO, and the screen is lovely. And the next thing we're going to talk about very quickly is the remote control. The remote control then, very simple to use. When the cameras are in recording mode, you have a red light on the bottom here, and then you have 3 buttons. If you press the top button, that is the camera button. So press it, that will take you through to the camera displays, and then keep pressing it, and then you'll cycle through the various camera displays. And I like to have it on the rear view mirror mode. And then finally, the bottom button, well, that will either start or stop your music, or answer or end your call. So let's put some music on then. So a bit of Adele. I don't want to get a copyright strike. So there we go. And then stop it. And that is what the remote control does. Right folks, I'm now out and about on my BMW R1250GS for a little bit of a test ride and to give you my final thoughts on the Aoocci C6PRO. So I've been out now for about an hour, and what I did notice was initially there was no speed being recorded down here. So what I had to do, I've had it before, it can take a while for the satellites to actually register on the unit itself. So there is a GPS antenna here. So what I did, I just had a look to see what the satellite reception was. There's GPS information here, and initially I was only seeing 2 satellites, then 3, and I think you actually need to see something in the region of 4 satellites for it to then register where it is on planet Earth. So I've now got latitude, longitude, and I do now have the speed being recorded on the dash cameras when I move along. As we said earlier on, it's only in kilometers per hour, it's not miles per hour, and hopefully that is something that Aoocci will address in a future software update. Now, in relation to the tyre pressures, I've now inflated them correctly. 2.5 in the front, 2.5 in the front, 3.9 in the rear. And if we just look at the tyre pressure sensors on the BMW itself, saying 2.6, 3.1. I've been out for a little while, so they've got a bit warmer, and the tyre pressure sensors fitted to the valve stems from Aoocci are showing 2.5 and 3.0, so they're pretty accurate actually. So they're very good, so within 0.1 of a bar, certainly enough to see if there's a downward trend in your tyres themselves. Now, my iPhone 14 is connected directly to the unit itself, and then my intercom on the helmet, it's a Cardo Pactor Edge, and that's just connected directly to the iPhone. So that is the only connection, and everything works well, whether that be with Siri or saying hey Cardo, music on or off. I really like the screen, it's a very nice screen. Yeah, that's all I can say about that. And again, we can swipe through with the finger, with the touchscreen bit on the end. I have noticed that I can actually use the non-capacitance finger. It didn't work in the man cave, but it seems to be working now, and yeah, so that seems to be fine. That's the non-capacitance part. So you just have to try it with your gloves, and if you've got to get a pair of gloves with these silver bits on the end, get a pair of gloves with a silver bit on the end. Obviously, you've just got to be careful about, there's a lot of cables to route, so just be careful of your cable management. Some of the cables are a little bit long, as we mentioned in the man cave, but yeah, it's a really good unit. I'm very, very impressed with it. I do like the 6.25 inch screen, and the quality is pretty good actually. I did mention earlier on maybe that the remote control was a little bit too much wallet friendly, but obviously it does its job, and with all these kind of devices you've got to make sure you don't get sucked into the device and not be concentrating on what's happening around you, so make sure you have good situational awareness. But I really like these smart navigation units. I think it's a really good unit from Aoocci, and yeah, that's it. That's all I'm going to say about it. Go and check it out on the website. I'm going to put a link in the description down below. You're going to have a discount code of about 22%, so check it out. And for £136 you're going to get a really nice smart navigation unit, and don't forget you've got the dash cameras front and rear, and that's really important in this day and age. They're 1080p, 30 frames a second. They are more than enough for you to have less anxiety when it comes to sorting out an insurance claim if you're involved in an accident. £136 is a bit of a no-brainer really, if I'm being honest. Yeah, the dash cam footage, I just fit it and forget it. You're not going to make any Hollywood movies with the quality of the footage from them. It's enough for you to show your insurance company what happened in the accident, or to show somebody, look, I witnessed the accident, here's the footage. It's more than enough for that. I'm going to put some footage up here as well so you can see the quality of it. Yeah, that's it guys. Ride safe. Make some comments in the comment section down below. It's a bit of a long one, I know, but I just wanted to give the Aoocci C6PRO my full attention and do a proper, thorough review on it. It's a great little unit, a great price. Ride safe. See you again soon. Cheerio for now. Bye.